So as you can see, it's been 5 months now that we've had our Project M. We haven't done anything to it on the inside because we're still waiting to figure out how to put the cupboards in. And we did actually have a bit of a hiccup because our fridge broke down. And our fridge used to sit just here, which was really convenient because of the battery. But we decided to buy a bigger fridge, which is now at the back. So we've got to think about how we are going to rearrange what we thought we were going to do. The other thing is we thought, wouldn't it be nice to look at other Project M's and see what other people have done? Well, it just so happens that our friend Jeff pulled into camp and he's got a Project M on a Ford. So let's take a look. Hey!
Hello, Andrea.
Jeff.
So great to see you.
How are you?
I am very well, thank you. How are you?
Jeff, my friend, good to see you.
Mr. Steve, great to see you, sir. And how are you?
Good, how are you?
Great.
We thought we'd show people your Project M. So tell us, when did you get it? What have you done to it? What do you like about it? And what don't you like about it?
Fine questions. Well, you know, Andrea, I actually picked up my Project M when you all were in at the four-wheel camper place,
Jeff.
which is where we met. Isn't that amazing?
So that was September 2022.
Correct. Yep, I've been
So-
living full-time in it ever since,
So that's
which was the plan.
5 months, same as us.
Unlike you all, though, as I understand it, I'm a little more encumbered. I kind of brought a little bit way too much stuff with me that I've had to cram in. So, as I can show you, I've got more in here I've had to deal with. I'd like to get rid of some of it, but for now I found a way to manage it all.
So let's take a look.
All right. I had to order my Project M many months in advance, as a lot of people have probably experienced. And if folks are familiar with it, this one I ordered to fit on this larger size pickup, which is a 6.5 foot bed. So that's the basic size of this camper. And I did ask for some of the features that are optional. On the exterior, for example, up top, I've got two, well, it's kind of interior, exterior, two roof vents that I went with. You can get none, one or two. I got these rear, very bright LED floodlights. I got an outside rack that I've used on both sides to mount a couple of things that are just in case items. So some people will see on overland vehicles. Yeah, and then of course there's the inside. So one of the things I've enjoyed here is that there's quite a bit of space, which you can probably appreciate. I can put my very wide chair in here. I'll move it around a bit. Obviously, I've got a bicycle in here. So as I said, I'm living out of here full time, as y'all are. So I just wanted to cram a bunch of stuff in. I needed to fit things, and I also needed to make sure it wasn't going to get totally smashed.
Now, you said this is a 6 foot bed.
It's a 6.5 foot bed truck.
Okay, so because ours is a 6 foot.
Yeah, right.
So
well,
you
it's
still got
it's
hot- you've got-
wider.
yeah.
So the way that shakes out is not only have I got that much bed space, but this Project M is 72 inches, 6 feet from end to end, which is, again, kind of luxurious and indulgent. So in here, I'm able to take my bike because I don't use it that often. I don't want it out in the way. I don't want it getting rained on. It not only fits in here, but it takes advantage of an optional sort of mounting rack that I had installed by four-wheel. And it buckles into that and holds a bunch of stuff up securely, even when I'm bouncing on nice rough roads. But as you look in here, you might notice I've got a bit of a shelf that I've built back in here. I wanted that because I wanted to store a few bulkier things that I may occasionally want to get at, but I just had emotional attachments to. I wanted to store them under there. That came with the bonus of giving me a place to not just set this fridge that I have, but secure it down with some buckling cinch straps. So
Because this is the
secured.
same fridge as ours.
It's
Yeah.
very similar. Yep, that's right. Same size, same make. I think you'll like yours because I've been very fond of this. So I was able to use the same wood and the same cheap approach, very simple, to make that big shelf, which gave me under storage space and a bit of a cinch down opportunity for some expensive heavy stuff. And I made little shelves like over the wheel wells, just to give me some space to use there. And then I've made my favorite table here that cinches in remarkably sturdily. And then a shelf up here, all from the same material, so it's a little matchy-matchy.
Now, the one thing that we had from Four Wheel Campers was the battery. Now you decided not to have their battery. Tell us about your battery and the system that you've got.
I did, and on the camera you might be able to pick it out a little bit in the back there. You can see there's a battery power solution box, and strapped on the side of it is an inverter as well. I have to just say I contemplated the option the Four Wheel offers, which was, at least at the time, too limited, I thought, or too limiting for me, because I'm going to be full-time. I decided I didn't want the AGM battery a lot of people might be familiar with. And those reasons are pretty familiar, again, to a lot of folks, but they're cheaper. They're definitely less expensive, but it's a heavier battery with a less capacity and a shorter
And that's the one that we've got.
Right, and very useful, but probably more common for folks who are weekend warriors or go out for shorter trips and they just need a bit of power. But I knew I was going to want to draw a lot of power. So I went with an outfit who provided me a 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery and a management system that is wired into the car, so the battery charges when driving, as folks want. I've got that much more power available to me, 105 amp hours actually, but I can actually access all that too because it's a lithium and not an AGM. So I have that power solution and an inverter and a solar panel on the roof.
So the one thing with the lithium batteries, we found that Four Wheel Campers don't offer a lithium battery option for the Project M. They do with their slide-ins, but not for this at the time of filming. Right,
and it was true when I was considering my options, and I think, as you all have probably shown and discussed, certainly dealt with, they would only provide for the Project M, at least when I ordered, an AGM battery. It's a 75 amp hour battery, but you're advised to not go below 50% capacity, so that really limits what's available to you. And also they place it in their own proprietary box in one spot. And generally speaking, some people who review these Project M's like these sort of non-optional built-in shelves that stick out. I found them obviously very useful. Some people sit on them, some people store a lot of stuff on them. Others wish they would go away. But when Four Wheel, at least as they have been, places their battery pack right in the middle of one of them, it takes up a lot of valuable space.
And that was the issue that we had, which was on our review, that we wished that they would at least give us an option, one of a different battery, because we wanted a lithium, but also where we could put the battery, because it just takes up too much space and it's really, really awkward to do anything.
Yeah, so I just worked with an outfit in Salt Lake City called Equipped Expedition Outfitters, and I have to say they were great to work with, and I appreciate what they did for me, which specifically was I got the kind of battery I wanted with a battery management system, which is to say inputs and outputs, solar charging from the engine when running. And they installed it for me by running the wires and cables that are sort of at the ready when you get your camper or topper, all the way to the far corner. So I've got it set down low, forward, and cinched, secured. So that's what I wanted. It's very much out of the way, and so far it's been working great. In fact, it's been working well enough that I sometimes, maybe half the time, use, rather than my old Coleman propane 2-burner cooker, I use an induction stove, 1-burner induction stove. I actually use electricity.
Cool.
So I can't do it all the time, and if I'm going to cook intensely, I might draw the battery down too much, but it's actually been working.
Now, we will take a look inside in a minute, but I do want to ask you, there's a couple of questions that I'm sure not just us, but the might be interested in. What do you do for heating?
Little. So far, the main answer to that question is I use an extra blanket. So my vision and intent has been to not be in particularly cold places, but I do consider that a weakness of my setup. So I picked the Project M because of its having a lot of options, a lot of flexibility, a lot of space, and it's very lightweight, but still rugged like the other four-wheel campers. If the truck can go there, it can go there. I won't break it. But it has a few vulnerabilities, and one of them is a bit true of all four-wheel campers, but this one particularly, heating is a problem. There's no built-in heater at all, and so I did get a little buddy. It's tucked away in the corner here. These are the small heaters that screw onto the very familiar 1-pound green Coleman cans. You can use that for a bit, but that'll use up a can in 4 or 5 hours. It's not a solution for I'm going to go camp somewhere really cold for a week. It's not,
and we have heard, now we don't have a buddy heater, and I know a lot of campers that full-time do, but we've also been told it does cause a lot of condensation.
Propane, just when you burn propane or when it combusts, it produces H2O, produces water. So here you are in a cold place, 1 or 2 people breathing in there, and it's cold, so things begin to condense, and then you turn on a propane-based heater. Yeah, you just create all that much more. Electric heating is much better, but I don't have nearly the battery capacity to do any meaningful heating electrically. Please come on in.
Oh, he's got stairs.
La-di-da. One of the disadvantages of a Project M is that you have to stoop a bit more because you have this big door you got to get under, but I'm used to it. I'll even kick off my shoes and make it a home.
Stephen, you need to get me some stairs because I'm only 5'3½", and that ½ an inch is really important, as you know.
Welcome.
Oh, it's got so much space in here. So much more than ours, obviously because I know it's wider. But we've also, as you've seen, we put the shelves on top of ours, so you've kept the normal shelf. How are you finding that?
These shelves stick out about 13 inches, and they're non-optional. They come standard. So I just went with that and just made use of it as it was presented to me. Obviously, people are doing some really other clever things, as you've done, like just add an extension, make it larger. I have found that I just personally am really enjoying this ridiculous amount of space. I have a big box here, which is wide open as soon as I move a couple things out of the way. So I used it as it came to inspire me to build this very simple surface, which is at a kitchen counter level. And I, by using the optional cinch strips that they provide these airport bracket strips and some cam buckle straps. I've got this locked in, so it doesn't matter what I drive over, it's absolutely solid.
And this is where you cook. And this is the sort of thing that, you know, we were thinking about designing, putting cupboards up, but of course our battery is bang smack in the way, whereas you've got a nice lot of storage space here.
People do build really nice cabinets, but I, for some reason, was inspired to do more just things with legs. So I made a tabletop, and because the cinch strap is holding it in anyway, I've stored various kitchen-related things and other sundries. I have an excellent table that's proven very easy to use. Plus, I happen to get my hands on a piece of glass that makes that even extend out a little more, and I can set things.
I like this, and I think because being on the road, you haven't got the facilities to do all the woodworking, and you haven't got the equipment, machinery, etc., which is the issue that we've got at the moment. We have to find somewhere where we can do the build. So in the interim, I actually really like this idea, and I think we're going to steal it off you. Let's take this out.
Excellent.
No, because if we can find something that just goes over the top of our battery and, fix it in like this, it will mean that I've got somewhere that I can stand, because at the moment I'm kneeling on the floor using this side to cook.
Right.
So
now my floor is pretty cushy in that I've put down multiple layers to make it comfy. I was indulgent with the feet too, and I've enjoyed that, but I'd rather stand up to cook as well. And just for what it's worth, I picked up your typical 8-foot by 4-foot piece of pine plywood and got this, a very large piece here that goes all the way across and is about 23 inches deep.
Well.
This whole piece underneath here, and this shelf and 2 over wheel wells, and this, which is cinched so tightly it hangs and I can put anything I want on it. I got all of that out of that one piece of plywood easy, and there's quite a bit left over. So you could do a whole lot with a single piece.
Yeah. Now with us, we keep our bed out because there's 2 of us and it's narrower. We keep our bed out full time, so this would be, at the moment it's where I cook, but this would be the seating area. Now you obviously sit on the fridge.
I can sit on my fridge, or my chair can fit in any orientation because I have so much space. Yeah.
And you keep your bed slid in the whole time, and you were telling me earlier that you sleep acrosswards.
Right, and amazingly I'm even taller than you, but...
And how tall are you?
Well, we'll call it 6'1".
And a half? Because
6 feet.
That ½ an inch is really important.
1 inch, and then some importance, yes. I don't know how to convert that for your European viewers, but anyway, that was imperial.
So 6'1", and you sleep quite happily widthways.
Well, so just to sort of review the standards, the basics, like all the 4-wheel campers, including the Project M's, indeed, mine does come with a slider, as yours has. And quite a few people do travel with their slider out all the time. Usually these are people who are traveling as couples, if not more. And that's fine. I have yet to actually deploy mine. It's an option. But yes, I've got the stays that support that and allow me to create a king-size platform in here, because it's so wide. But a 4-wheel camper always includes these, but for the Project M's, they have been making their pads, their little sectional mattresses, optional, and I opted to not get it, and instead get a cushy, I don't know if you can see the brand here, Xped. This is a 4-inch thick Xped thick foam but air inflatable mattress, and it is fabulous. It's more comfortable than the queen mattress I used to have at home. I'm really in love with it. And this size is exactly 72 by 41 inches. So I have a 72 by 41 inch bed, and it's just me. So though I don't quite fit across this way, I'm a slight diagonal, and I'm comfy. So indeed, I've been sleeping up here very happily the whole time. If I were to have a special visitor or friend come, perhaps I would rather pull this out and make a little more space, as you all have done. I also have been very warm up here. I'm not a particularly chilly person, but your question earlier about heat is important. I don't have a set, fixed, or on all-night heat source. You all have inspired me, actually, to get a 12-volt electric blanket. Very simple. I know people do that, so I'm going to get one to just take the edge off occasionally, because I can do.
Best move ever for us.
Yeah, great. But I've got this blanket, another blanket, the sleeping bag, whatever you need to stay warm. But as you look around here, I did opt for the 2 ceiling fan vents. So I have not one like you do, and then I have one up over that sleeping area as well.
Now that's something that I wish, on hindsight, I wish we had opted for a second one because of the condensation with the breath at night. Then we could have had most of that sucked out. So, yeah, I wish we had had 2 vents rather than just the one.
Well, so far I'm enjoying it, though. I don't have 2 people making the condensation, but I think I think it was worth splurging on that.
And also in the heat, it gives you more, because you've got the fan to cool you off at night.
Correct. As y'all have probably mentioned to folks, these fans are pretty neat. They're nicer than the ones that 4-Wheel used to install, in that they are 9-speed reversible, so you can go 9 different speeds in or out, or mix it to get circulation going a certain way. I do ventilate. I thought I would be cooking on the tailgate, but it's so convenient to have this and my fridge right here. I end up not going outside very often, and that to have the windows and the fans and whatnot helps with food odors. It helps with speaking of heat and cooking, it helps with the alarm here, because 4-Wheel always provides you that mandatory smoke and carbon monoxide alarm. However, I've discovered on my very coldest nights, I've had just a few nights that were down into the mid-20s. Again, that's Fahrenheit. And I was toasty enough under my blankets, but middle of the night, when it gets into the 20s, this thing just goes off. It's totally dark. It's quite cold, and it's beeping like crazy. And if you crash your head into this like all the 4-Wheel people do, and you stumble around and you take it down and you beg it to shut up and you stuff it under things. It's pretty irritating. But
yeah, we've actually had that happen to us a couple of times.
I might also mention that for folks who know the features, I did get the thermal pack, which is this additional layer. So
and how
all the
are you
4
liking
wheels,
that?
Well, I'm really happy I got it. The 4-Wheels come with a window and then the cover, and they offer the thermal pack as an insulator. And I can't say I've done temperature, thermometer setting tests to make sure it's keeping me cooler or warmer, whatever it may be. But I like very much having this because it's considerably darker. If I want a darker space in here, this just is much darker.
That's true.
I believe that having this additional material and this little air gap in between the layers does help with insulation. For what it's worth, only so much. It's still a kind of a glorified tent. But on top of that, this material is not it's not the same as this thick sort of marine canvas waterproof material. So it at least helps with some of the condensation management and moisture.
What things have you noticed that you'd like to change, or that 4-Wheel campers, how would they be able to improve the Project M?
Well, the number one consequence for me going Project M versus one of their slide-in campers, still talking 4-Wheel, I'm a big fan. I've been really interested in theirs for a long time. When the Project M came out as just a topper, I decided that's the one for me. That's the one I really want. But it comes with a potential very significant dust problem. I found dust a challenge. And so a first pointer, which is just something I missed because I wasn't being very bright or thoughtful, is if you get a truck, seal up the whole bed, all the cracks and holes and whatnot, before you do something like put a bed rug down, which I really like. But now I can't, I've got too much junk in here, and I sort of missed my window for convenient sealing the bed. And then the tailgate, of course, is just a problem. So I've come up with some good solutions. I had to experiment a bit with foam and a few different sort of gasket and weather stripping kits. When you have your tailgate up and you put the door down of the Project M, they don't really help you with sealing for dust. There's just a gap you can look through. They try to put a a bit of a plastic piece on that just helps with water, with rain coming down, but you're on your own for the dust management. So I've done pretty well in the back, but I realized I just sort of missed some stuff around. So that's a heads up and an issue.
So that's not really the topper though, that's more of an issue with the tailgate and the truck bed, because we had the same issues.
Yes.
And we're actually going to do a video about how we prevented dust getting into the back.
Yeah, and I've done the same thing. I've had to try a few different things to make that work. And I've probably cut the dust problem down maybe 70-75%. So that's pretty good. But a topper versus a slide-in, dust is an issue. And then another issue is that people will drive by when you're trying to do an interview with their motor vehicles.
Slow down and wave and look at
Yeah,
you.
hi, what you doing? Pinning the Atlas!
Like, subscribe, share.
Another issue we talked about is heat. So I think four-wheel campers, because they're big canvas pop-up tops, are a bit of a challenge anyway, but this one doesn't even come with anything built in. So this is not really the vehicle to go spend lots of time in ski resort parking lots in the winter and get piled under snow. I might try it a bit, but that sounds a bit chilly to me. I prefer to be down in the sunny desert country where I've caught up with y'all. A couple other things. One of the things that comes up a lot with the Project M people is the hatch door here. It's just a little odd, and they keep working on it, and they've already made improvements, and y'all and I and others have suggestions for more. The floodlights that I got on the back are nice to have. I think I'm glad I got that option. I paid for that option, but they are just on-off, excessively bright lights, and like the lights inside, which are actually very nice, dimmable, very low power draw LED strips.
Yeah,
four of them.
We like the lights.
But they're like these, they're of that sort of white, bluish LED color. And for folks who are into more overlanding and the off-road and the nighttime travel and camping, people like more yellow lights and dimmer opportunities. These are just sort of these bright floods. I guess I call them floodlights, so fair enough. But it would be nice to have something that's a little more yellow or warm or dimmable. Shy of that, I'll probably just come up with my own solution, try a dimmer switch or try a little cover that'll mute the light a bit.
And I've just been looking in the corner now. One of our big issues was the amount of our fuse box and all our wiring is in this corner, and it doesn't have a cover. You haven't got that, and I take it that's because you had it all wired in, so all the wires are hidden into your battery and everything else.
And I can't take credit for the work either, unlike this master craftsmanship here. As I mentioned, I had that done for me by the good fellows at Equipped Expedition Outfitters in Salt Lake City. And so they take what is always standard wiring, it will always be here for any four-wheel camper, and they just collected all that for me and ran it all the way around to where I wanted my battery set. So I would have it low, secure, out of the way, and so it's the same stuff, but it's just been brought all the way around here, and it's all tidy, and this is the whole power management system. And I do have a solar panel on top, and it is wired into the truck when it runs as well.
Now the solar panel, was that the solar panel that came with the four-wheel camper option, or was it one that you purchased separately?
I think it's the same one that's available now for folks who work through four-wheel camper, but I actually did that through the Equipped folks in Salt Lake City as well.
Okay.
So we hope you all thoroughly enjoyed the tour around our friend Jeff's Project M.
And it also has given us some ideas on what we can do in the interim time before we actually put our cupboards in. And on that note, get out there, go and explore, put another pin in the Atlas, and we will see you on our next adventure. Bye.
Bye.